Oh, that is heavy. Hi, I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. Right, a few months ago, I did a review of an Amplified Nation Overdrive Reverb, which undoubtedly my favourite amp of all time. So that video went really well. So Amplified Nation have sent over another amp for review. Let's open it up and see what we got. Oh, that's nice. Right, what is this? So we've got a Amplified Nation Wonderland Overdrive. Now this particular amplifier is the 50 watt version, but it does come in 22 watts and 100 watts as well. When you buy the 50 watt amplifier, you get two rectifier valves. The 50 watt version and the 100 watt version is powered by 6L6 tubes. You've got two cascading gain channels, tube powered spring reverb, 4, 8 and 16 ohm outputs, effects loop and a half power switch. First of all, I don't know if this is gonna come across, but just the build quality of Amplified Nation's amplifiers is second to none. And it should be, they're not cheap amplifiers, but they are absolutely fantastic. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna spend a couple of days playing around with this, getting all the sounds out of it, and then I'll be back in a couple of seconds for you guys, but a couple of days for me to do the review. This amp is different to my Overdrive Reverb amplifier, and I'm going to go through some of the differences between that. But this is arguably a more versatile amplifier. The Wonderland Overdrive version 2 sounds fantastic at loud volumes, as you'd expect. But the thing that a lot of amp manufacturers don't get right is when you bring it down to bedroom levels, it sort of sounds thin and a bit weedy. This doesn't. I don't know what they've done to the master circuit on this, but it sounds absolutely fantastic at all volumes. Before I start going through all the controls on this amp and what they all do, let me just show you some of the tones you can get out of it. The cleans to me are very different to the Overdrive Reverb. The Overdrive Reverb breaks up quite easily, especially at high volumes, as you'd expect. Now I've got the master cranked up on this, it's about 1 o'clock, and it gives you this really big clean tone that doesn't really break up. Now, if I bring the drive back on the overdrive channel, you get these really nice, just sort of broken up tones. And it goes from those really nice, just on the verge of breakup sort of tones to actually quite raucous. It's a lot simpler to set up than the Overdrive Reverb, as we haven't got as many controls on it. So what I'll do, let me go from left to right on the controls, and then we're going to go through some examples. It's a cascading gain amp, so all of these controls are feeding into each other. So from the left we've got treble, middle and bass. We've got a gain control, and you can think of that as your input gain. we've got the master, then we've got our drive channels. We've got drive, which is the amount of overdrive, and the drive level. So we've actually got a separate volume for the drive channel. Then we've got reverb and contour. The contour you can think of a bit like a cut control, where in the middle it's flat and we can cut the treble or we can boost the treble. Now personally I really like brighter sounding amps and I like the contour cranked up a little bit. Then we've got these switches. We've got a bright switch, we've got a mid switch, a deep switch, a PAB switch which basically bypasses the tone circuit, and we've got the channel switch. Now it does come with a foot switch, so you can change the channel and bypass the tone stack as well. The cleans are really Fender-esque. You can think of it more like a twin and a super, those bigger sort of Fender amps. And the drive channel is something else. If you're looking for an amp that does amazing sort of Fender cleans and amazing drive tones, I'd highly recommend having a look at one of these. So there's a drive channel on its own, and you can then bypass the tone circuit to get even more gain out of it. So that is a ton of gain. Now, a lot of amps, if you had that amount of gain running, you'd be hearing all sorts of extra hiss and noise. And this is the sound you get from the Wonderland Overdrive. It's more or less silent. Absolutely amazing. So I'll go through what all the switches do. If I take the bright switch out to start with, so it just adds that little bit of extra sizzle. Next we've got the mid switch, and you can think of this like a mid push. So it takes it out of that sort of scooped Fender tone into more of a mid pushed amp. Right, next we've got a deep switch. Next, as I've already demonstrated, we've got our PAB switch or preamp boost, and this bypasses the tone stack. And then again, we've got our overdrive switch. If you saw my video on the Amplified Nation, ampliphonics and gain, you'll know that the reverb affects the actual drive of the amp. So let me stick it onto the drive channel. And the reverb's really nice. If you like reverbs that don't get in the way of your guitar tone, this is absolutely perfect. And it's a darker sounding reverb. It's not that sort of over bright, splashy reverb that you can get on a lot of amps. So there you go. I'll leave a link to this amplifier and to Amplified Nation's website in the notes below. I'd highly recommend checking out the website, and I'd highly recommend checking out one of these amplifiers if you get the chance. You will not be disappointed. They are absolutely outstanding. Anyway, I really hope you guys got something out of this video. If you did get something out of it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Click on the bell button and you'll be notified of any future video that comes out from the Studio Rats. I'm Paul, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.